Geekhouse fly glass! Geekhouse! Geekhouse fly glass! Geekhouse! Geekhouse fly glass! Geekhouse! Geekhouse fly glass! Epic fail!
Well, that was messed up. Now, where was I?
The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
Remember those plants that had just barely sprouted a while back? Yeah, they got so big I had to take them off the table and basically pick up a dedicated lamp just for the plant light. Now I just gotta get the shoe polish off the flower pot. Why is there shoe polish on the flower pot? Well, it was a wacky summer and a wacky September, and I basically have to clean the table now. I've mostly been... the plants were there, and I've been polishing shoes on here, and it clearly shows. So let's get that cleaned up. But before we do, there's a couple of things that I want to go over with regards to this stuff right here. Actually, no, let's clean this place first. There we go. Nothing a little multi-surface cleaner and a magic eraser couldn't handle. Yay, it's a table again! I should get some newspaper and stuff like that for polishing shoes, considering how messy it is, instead of having to clean the table with a little bit of, not even elbow, but finger grease with the magic eraser every single time. And I also have to use this stuff up, too. I believe this stuff's from 2012. Yeah. I'm one of those folks, apparently, who keeps buying new bottles of cleaner without finishing the old ones, so... duh. Well, I was wondering why my kitchen seemed to keep getting dimmer and dimmer. Wait for the camera to adjust. Wait for it. A crescent light. Yeah. So this GE is actually the first of the LED bulbs that I have that actually has some burnout issues. Only this small bit of it right here actually still works. If we let the camera adjust, it'll eventually turn into a crescent and whatnot, but this thing is not very bright at all anymore. It's barely brighter than a plug-in LED light that runs off of batteries. What a bummer. However, this does give me an opportunity to poke around inside this thing and see if there's a way to solder the LEDs back into working order. I don't think there is, but it'd be cool to see the inside of one of these things. It's one of the GEs, though. That's from years and years ago, when I first started really getting serious about LED lighting. Let's put this great value daylight bulb into this little lamp as well. Plus we have the project lamp, but I picked up a desk lamp in case I wanted something a little more mobile. There we go. Much brighter. Way brighter, as in the whole bulb actually still lights up. This will probably make for an interesting tinkering project later. Maybe that can be one of the rules over here. Check it out before you throw it out. One of the things I will be saying goodbye to, unfortunately, is this old StarTech hard drive enclosure. Basically, it was something I picked up in 2015 to have a portable games drive that could take a few drops, thanks to the rubber enclosure and stuff like that. But unfortunately, number one, it runs off of the original USB 3 and not USB-C, and it also had problems with losing power for some reason, particularly when there was a lot going in and out of the drive. So this only kind of somewhat worked okay, but it was usually more hassle than it was worth. As opposed to the successor, these Orico boxes that run off of USB-C and are a lot more straightforward, even if they don't have a rubber enclosure like this. Boosh, boosh, boosh. In the meantime, I've also made some decisions to reverse some of the decisions I made earlier in the year regarding Geekhouse 5S as we take a look at the boob light here, which is very clearly using soft white light bulbs. Hey, Penny Poodle, how you doing? So everything's all beige in here again. So I gotta use up the remainder of the soft white LED bulbs somehow, so I think I'm gonna burn them all out in the bedroom, and then that'll be that. Eventually I'll just attrition them out and go to daylight, however long that takes. And if the bulb down in the cellar needs to be fixed, well, we'll just bring one of those down too, but well, I don't exactly film in the bedroom or anything. I could just bring a light in here if I really wanted to, or just, just put a bulb in one of the lights or something. But in terms of having a place to burn out the remaining soft white bulbs, I think the bedroom's the best spot for that. Of course, with my regular use of this side lamp right here, and I imagine I will probably get to the point where some of these LEDs in here start to burn out. Doesn't look like it's happening with this one yet. And of course, if something were to happen to that completely, we still have this one. But yeah, places to use up the remaining soft white bulbs. The bedroom's a place for sleeping, so the less blue light is probably going to be good for that anyways. Kitchen's nice and bright again, as I do some laundry in the Geekhouse washer. Woot woot! Well, that should be good for trying to get the shoe polish off the side of this textured planter here. But the challenge of cleaning stuff off with things like alcohol and surface cleaner and stuff like that is not accidentally poisoning the water that's feeding these plants. So here's the results of the whole plant experiment from earlier in the year. This big one is the salvia, which is strange because it's actually, this is supposed to be a full sun plant. And I've tried growing some lupines, but this thing keeps shading them out because this thing is further along in its development than these are. I have two of them here. I tried planting a couple of things here, but nothing's ever germinated or sprouted or anything. So, worst comes to worst, if it doesn't work out, I will just have the lupines, we'll just cut those out, put the salvia in the middle, and just have this be a weird house plant. It'll look like a house plant that is way too small for the flower pot that it's in. I mean, you usually have something a little bit bigger in something like this, but this thing should flower sometime next spring, and what's interesting is that this is a full sun plant, this is a part shade to full shade plant, and yet it's the full sun plant that has done the best. The reason why it's shaped all that weirdly is because the light's been coming at it from an angle over on the plant light. So, anyways, I think I'm going to go put this back so we can get some more light and see if we can solve our little shade problem with the lupines. I still have some lupine seeds left that I could try planting, but it's been so long, I don't know if they'll even germinate or if they just dried out or whatnot. So, but we're looking at a salvia for next spring, assuming I don't just move this to the middle of the pot and call it with that stuff. In terms of the other stuff, unfortunately the giant thing with two of these Sterilite drawer things stacked on top of each other was about to fall over. It just couldn't handle its own weight. So I had to go back to two 4-thing high, whatever you want to call them, sets of drawers with tools in this one and shoe stuff in the other one. I'm eventually going to get rid of both of these though and put something a little sturdier in here, because this whole thing with the transparent drawer so you can see what's where just didn't really work out. I mean, I have a label maker now, so why not just use that and get something sturdier that won't buckle under the slightest bit of weight put on top. Even the old Delosaurus is too heavy for this thing. Well, folks, we are heading towards sunrise. Soon the non-night shift people will be getting up and getting about their business. So, before we call it a morning here, here's a sneak peek at the sort of stuff that I want to tinker with next. So, I've been kind of short on material for these kinds of things for quite some time, and I've mostly been playing video games for the last couple of months. But there is some stuff over here that's been sitting around for a while that I finally want to get around to doing something with. We have these wire organizer clips, assuming the glue's still good on them, that I bought a very long time ago to help with the 5S setup with the cable management around the desk. We have these Tech-In, not to be confused with the video game series, it's spelled differently, smart plugs to reprise some of my involvement with smart home technology now that I've gotten my former Genie devices to work with something other than Genie. We have this bulb, which is basically a crescent moon at this point. I actually want to break the glass of this thing and see what's inside and how it operates and whether or not it could be soldered and fixed, even if it looks ugly, just to repair the connections that have been blown open by whatever happened inside that bulb. These are LEDs we're talking about. And then we have these. They're called extension cords, but they're only 8 inches. I like to refer to them as short cords. There's a very specific reason why I picked these up. These solve a long-running problem that I've been having for the better part of actually probably over 10 years now. But we will save this for some point later on. I do have plans for these. There's a reason why I bought a big bag of these things, and there's a reason why I want to publicize them, but we'll get into them a little bit later. So for now, hope this has been a nice renaissance as to what exactly has been going on. And heck, I've got my project area back. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay, signing off. Thanks for stopping by.